Hi, and welcome to the negotiation portion of the playbook here. This is where our clients say that we have yielded the most value within the home selling process. So we're eager to share you our negotiation strategies throughout the transaction. The most dangerous negotiation is the one you don't know you're in. And in real estate, throughout the entire transaction, there are a lot of opportunities that a seller could leverage in order to gain position on a buyer or a buyer's agent. We're going to walk through those with you right now. So the first opportunity here is a pre-listing launch. So we talked about this in our marketing, whereby getting as many buyers as possible, their emotions really ramped up as much as they can because they buy emotionally, justify logically. That is the first step that we take in negotiating a higher sales price. Number two, open house competition leverage. So we encourage we have a very flexible open house policy, but we encourage our sellers to have open houses so buyers can see their competition right in front of them. And that ramps up urgency for buyers and ultimately a higher sale price. Offer deadline, again, giving every single buyer an opportunity to see the property before reviewing any offers. Therefore, having the chance of getting the absolute most amount of offers that we can go back and leverage against each other to get a seller the highest price possible. Open house follow-up activity articulation. So what we do is, we talked about this on Mondays, is call back everybody who's been interested in the property, agents and buyers, and not only get their feedback on the property, but also kind of share with them what the activity was like over the weekend. We had 3 open houses. We had over 70 groups through the open houses. We have a lot of interest in the property. How can we help you? Do you have any questions? So making sure that everybody knows what's going on with respect to activity. Next, buyer due diligence. So when we get the offers in hand, we want to make sure, obviously, that the buyer is pre-qualified, that the buyer is properly motivated to buy the property. And what we do is a full social media review of the buyer, a LinkedIn review, a social media review, property search history. So what we're going to do is we're going to look online to see if they've been talking about buying a house and how long they've been doing it. Is it something that they've just started the process, or is it something, can we tell from their social media activity, it's something they've been doing a long time and they're getting frustrated. The next thing we'll do is we'll talk to their agent. We'll ask them, how long have they been looking for a home? If it's how many offers have they put in on a property yet, so far? Have they lost out on a few? Obviously, the more a buyer has lost out on, the more likely they are to stay in a deal once it gets accepted. This is extremely important to ascertain prior to accepting an offer, especially if you have a lot of offers that are very close, which is a lot of times the case. So we want to make sure we want to check their motivation. We talk to their agent about that. The representation quality. So we also want to know, with respect to their agent, if we haven't worked with them before, we've worked with a lot of agents, great agents in the area. But if it's an out of area agent or an agent we're not familiar with, we want to know kind of the level of experience that they have, how many deals they are doing, how many transactions, how long they've been in the business. Will they be able to manage their client successfully through the process? There's lots of bumps that happen throughout the real estate transaction. We want to know, is this agent going to be able to successfully navigate their client through those obstacles? And then a financial and lending review. So obviously, every buyer that any offer that we accept or collect is going to have some sort of pre-approval. Now, many of these pre-approvals aren't worth the paper that they're written on. A listing that we had a couple of years ago in Malden was a 2-family. We got a great offer from a woman who was pre-approved by Leader Bank, a great bank. I've done a lot of business with Leader. I've worked with Leader personally. And I talked to the mortgage originator and I said, hey, it looks like we're getting ready to accept your client's offer. But I just want to make sure that you have verified all the income and the assets before we move forward towards accepting this offer. The originator said, Bill, don't worry about it. We're all set. The buyer actually got a new job last month, and she's making more money than she was making before. I said, oh, that's fantastic. Great to hear. Have you verified her income? And he said, you know what? I haven't. Let me get back to you. I'll call you right back. He calls me back. He says, Bill, you're not going to believe this. He said, she got a new job making more money, but most of it's under the table. Whoops. So good thing we discovered that before accepting their offer, before getting into an agreement with them, whereby the next time we would that would be verified would be within a week of closing. And that is the worst case scenario for a seller, is when you're off the market for a long period of time and then you have to come back on. That's where they take their biggest hits in equity. So we're very careful to make sure that each and every buyer offer that we accept has been properly pre-approved. Next, offer negotiation. So once we've accepted the offer, we're in the process of accepting the offer. We're going to leverage offers against each other in a second round of negotiations for a couple of reasons here. Number one, it's very rare that a buyer is going to put forth their highest and best offer as their initial offer. It happens sometimes, but usually there's more money that's available to a seller. A buyer needs to feel a little bit of a tug to stay into the transaction so they don't get cold feet. Sometimes we see it a lot when a buyer will win a bidding war very easily. They'll go to bed that night, wake up in the middle of the night and think, oh my God, what did I just do? Did I just overpay for this house that I just went, 2, 5, 10% over asking for? And they get cold feet and pull out. So couple rationale is twofold on going back for a second round. Obviously, just to get more net proceeds for the seller. And number two, to make sure that buyer stays in the deal. It's very important. And then once we've gone back to all the buyers with respect to our second round of negotiations, we will then craft a dream offer in the final round of negotiations. What's a dream offer? So you've got your highest price. Maybe the dates aren't aligning to a dream scenario for a seller with respect to when they're moving out of their house, when they want to close on this house. So we will fine tune the offer so all the dates match up perfectly. Maybe the current seller needs to rent their property back for a month or two, have cash in hand to buy their next home. We'll go ahead and negotiate that. Sometimes we can negotiate free rent. Again, depending on the property, depending on market conditions, this is a time, once we've kind of leveraged all the offers together, to craft that dream offer for the seller. Now, post-offer transaction management. This is when a lot of negotiation is still happening here. If there is a home inspection, we're starting to see some more home inspection these days. We make sure that the buyer understands this is not a time to renegotiate the price of the house. It's just an opportunity to see how the house works. 2, financing contingency. We are all over the lenders to make sure that that financing contingency date is met. We want to make sure that the appraisal is offered immediately or as quickly as possible, so there are no delays there. And we want to make sure the lender's on track, especially when we're selling a condo, that the lender's on track on getting all the questionnaires that are needed, all of the insurance information, and all the other pertinent data that's needed. in order for a buyer to get a loan on a condo. So we're on top of the lenders to make sure these deadlines are met. So the transaction whereby the seller is potentially at risk of losing a buyer, those windows are as short as possible. And lastly, the final walkthrough. Now, sometimes there are situations where buyers think they can potentially renegotiate the price on a final walkthrough, especially if they're working with an inexperienced agent. It simply is not the case, and we make sure that all parties are aware of this. So the most dangerous negotiation is the one you don't know you're in. We've outlined our negotiation tactics and strategies there. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks so much. Bye.